Hello and welcome to the Podcast Hut. Finally, you've heard about it on all the podcasts, and now we are here broadcasting a little video, which is the first one I've ever done here, so it's quite exciting for me. I come to you with a heavy heart. I said earlier on that we would have some breaking news on the Midweek Wrestle Chat. The Midweek Wrestle Chat, the podcast show on iTunes, Spreaker, with myself, Tony James, and Aaron Blanchard, and it's also been on Podbean and so many other places. The first thing we need to do is thank everybody. You probably know where this is going now, don't you? But fear not. Let me get to the end before you turn off in disgust. We want to thank everybody. The MWC Universe, as we called you. And this sounds very WWE, doesn't it? But without you guys and girls, the show would have been nothing, because we couldn't do it without you. Wednesday after SummerSlam, live at 9 o'clock on Spreaker, and it'll also be available on iTunes, will be our final show of the Midweek Wrestle Chat. And I wanted to come on here to tell you a little bit. It costs money to do these shows, and we've been doing it for a good couple of years now. I've ploughed a lot of money into it, but there are a lot of wrestling shows that just talk about Raw and WWE and the pay-per-views and the predictions, just like we do. And they've been around a lot longer than us as well. And they are the ones that are going to get the viewers. So unfortunately, we've had to take one on the chin. Sounds a bit pervy, doesn't it? Sorry. And we are stopping the Midweek Wrestle Chat. But fear not. We still do Carnage on a Tuesday night, which is just me and Aaron chewing the fat. It's been up there in the charts. It's doing really well. And we've even got advertisers interested, which is great news. That show will continue to go on. Aaron, off the back of the Midweek Wrestle Chat, started his very own UFC MMA podcast show. It's only 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes, sometimes longer, on a Thursday night. That goes out. And that's basically on the Midweek Wrestle Chat. For those that don't know, he would talk about the MMA weekly roundup and what was going on in UFC. Not everybody, like myself, knew what he was going on about. He would go on and on. We wouldn't have a clue. So he's doing this show. It's like an idiot's guide. He's not an expert. He says that himself. But he is doing this show to sort of let, as a fan of UFC, to let people know about the UFC. And that's doing really well as well. It's in New and Noteworthy today at number 6, which is great news for Aaron and the people of the Podcast Hut, as he likes to say. So where does that leave us? Well, Wednesday will be our last show after SummerSlam. So we want you to be there and we want you to listen. But fear not. We are going to take a short break from the Midweek Wrestle Chat. And the good news and the exciting news, not only that the Flyers just joined me. Unbelievable. We will be bringing out this podcast. Can you see it? Hang on. There we go. The Wrestling Retrospect Podcast from the good people of the Podcast Hut. This is going to be available on iTunes. It will be live on Spreaker too, and we'd like you to join us. We're not going to be looking back at Raw and all these other pay-per-views. If there's a big match like Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker, then we will take time to look at it and enjoy it, because we're fans of wrestling, just as you are that listen to the show. We're fans and we enjoy it. But the WWE Network's such a big thing, we've decided we're going to use that. We're going to look back at pay-per-views, main events, matches, superstars, divas, and we're going to look back at some of the greatest matches and pay-per-views. We're going to talk about wrestling, how we should be talking about wrestling as fans. And we'd like you to join us on that journey, the second part of our journey from the Podcast Hut, which means we still get to talk about wrestling. I've got my door open here, I've got my window open here, and they've just started washing the car at the garage behind me. Unbelievable. So, once again, I'm going to leave now because they're so noisy. I want to say thank you for joining us and helping us over the last couple of years with the Midweek Wrestle Chat. and we really truly hope that you are a big part of our next show. Keep looking, we'll be out there, and we're going to mention it all over Twitter and Facebook. Keep watching the Podcast Hut as well on Twitter, and Aaron Blanchard, the podcast enhancer, Tony James Comedy, not very funny is he, that's on Twitter as well. We will be back, and the MWC universe, we thank you very much. The Midweek Wrestle Chat comes to an end this coming Wednesday, live 9 o'clock on Spreaker, and we'd love you to be there. Thank you, and we shall speak soon. Bye bye. You noisy